And good morning on Tuesday, August 29th. It's episode 275 of the 359 podcast. I'm the ultimate man behind the curtain, BVG, and here we are with Ben Fox, Rubin, and Roger Cheng. Good morning, guys.
Morning.
Good morning.
What are we talking about?
Not
Alexa.
Samsung.
Not Samsung
Yay!
for once.
Well, we weren't talking
Not
about.
Samsung, not Apple.
We didn't talk about Samsung yesterday,
True.
so
Yeah.
there's that.
Well, we have some Amazon news.
We've
to
got
catch
a lot
up
of
on.
Amazon news.
CNET's new hashtag, keeping it fresh.
Yeah, so we've got a big story from Ben on Amazon's efforts to make Alexa more human. We'll talk a little bit about Amazon's takeover of Whole Foods, which was official yesterday,
Right.
which meant cheaper avocados
Right.
and other stuff. All I care about is the avocados, frankly.
We'll run through that, and there was also some news this morning about Amazon launching multi-room music playback that
Nice.
Chris wrote about. So,
All right.
if people have questions about that, we'll try to get through that too.
It's an all Amazon day, so if you have any questions about the retailing giant, leave them in the comment section. Brian will pick out the best, and we'll get to them in 3 minutes and 59 seconds.
Stick around for the recording of the podcast. We'll be back in 4 minutes from 3, 2...
Welcome to the 359. I'm Roger Cheng.
I'm Ben Fox Rubin.
It's all about Amazon today. Ben, you've got a fantastic profile of Alexa and really the effort that Amazon's putting in to make Alexa more human.
Oh, shucks. Thank
That's
you.
the only compliment I'll give you for that. So, Ben, tell me more about this story. Like, why should people read this?
So it's interesting to consider what exactly voice assistants are going to become not that far from now into the future. I think a lot of people that watch the movie Her by Spike Jonze see this idea of us having voice assistants being much more integrated into our lives, us developing relationships with them. And it was really fun to kind of delve into this piece to understand how Amazon and Alexa are getting us closer to that as a possibility.
Right, and there was this principle, this CASA principle.
Right. There's this
Talk
really.
to me about that.
So, this is an idea back from the 90s called computers are social actors paradigm. It essentially describes the fact that even though people know computers aren't human, obviously, they still treat computers like they
Right.
are human.
They say thank you.
They say thank you.
I'm sorry if I've treated Alexa a little poorly.
Yeah, or if I yell at Siri for getting something wrong, I kind of feel bad about it afterwards. I mean, Siri doesn't have feelings, so CASA explains that, or at least it tries to.
So I will say, so yesterday I was for the first time finally set up a smart home switch for my AC, and I programmed Alexa so I could turn it on and off with my voice.
Ooh.
And when I finally did, I'm like, thank you, Alexa.
And Alexa didn't say anything.
No, Alexa said nothing.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm like, that's rude.
so, but that's interesting to think about because, if Alexa was actually going to say you're welcome, it would mean that Alexa
Was listening.
would respond without the wake word, which
Right.
would creep people out and would create privacy concerns. But at the same time, how exactly are Amazon, Google, Apple, Samsung, how are they going to try to figure out different ways to make these things more human-like? And in making them more human-like, increase engagement, increase discovery, make them more useful. But at the same time, potentially create this creep out factor of we're talking to these robots
Right.
and now they're acting more like people.
And you actually went up to Princeton to visit a team of students who they're participating in a competition to make Alexa more human, right?
Right. They're creating a social bot named Pixie that the primary concept of it is to be able to just chew the fat and talk to you about fashion or travel or,
And
obviously technology.
The challenge is to have Pixie hold a conversation for, 20 minutes?
20 minutes.
That's a long time.
Yeah. I mean, you can barely stand talking to me for 4 minutes.
I know.
So and it's really cool to think about how much actually goes into any given conversation among two people for 20 minutes.
Yep.
So it's a super complicated, very difficult, unsolved problem in the AI world to actually create an artificial intelligence that could carry on a conversation for 20 minutes. It's really, really hard.
All right, well, there's plenty to unpack here, but definitely take a look at Ben's story. It's a fantastic piece, as I said. Next up, or lastly, I guess we have to talk about the Whole Foods takeover. Amazon officially took over the grocery store chain on Monday. What did it mean?
Yeah, it's a first of all, what it means for Amazon is that it's their biggest acquisition ever. It's $13.7 billion. This is also their first major foray into brick and mortar. There's already questions as to who are they going to buy up next? Are they going
Right.
to get Nordstrom? Are they going to
Well,
pick up?
look, beyond
you know,
that, for the for our viewers, really, I think the immediate impact is you started seeing echoes at the store, right?
right? Which to me seemed a little tacky. I was surprised they did it right off the bat.
And we got discounts on special items, right? Select items.
Yeah, they got and select is really the operative word here. It's really just a handful of best sellers, and they lowered the prices on, avocados, responsibly farmed tilapia,
All stuff
farm
I
fresh,
like.
Yeah, like brown eggs by, between 7% and 43%. Bloomberg, crunched the numbers on this. And so they're planning on doing more of that, but at the same time, they got a lot of excitement and positive press about cutting just a handful of
Now,
things.
and I'm curious, was this eligible for, these discounts were for everyone or for just Prime customers?
For everyone. Prime is going to become the rewards program eventually, but they still need to do the integration.
Got it. Okay. And I take that back. I'm not into farm tilapia.
Okay.
It's wild, man. Wild and nothing. All right. We have plenty of Amazon news today. That's all the time we have. For more on these stories, check us out on CNET. I'm Roger Cheng.
I'm Ben Fox Rubin.
Thanks for listening.
How dare you say Alexa's not intelligent?
Alexa's intelligent.
She's an AI. She's intelligent.
You insulted her.
She still gets things wrong sometimes.
All the time.
She gets things wrong a lot.
You get things wrong a lot.
I do. I do. But they're not selling me at Whole Foods, okay?
Not
it's
yet,
important.
at least.
They're not putting me in a farm fresh stand and saying, Ben Rubin, $99.
Buy one,
just
get
today.
one free.
That would be weird. That would be weird. Have a conversation. Have a 20-minute long conversation with Ben Fox
That would be
Rubin.
chill. That's the thing. Imagining how difficult it is for an AI to do it, just a human to keep up a 20-minute conversation. I'll get bored before 20 minutes goes by.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And
Exactly.
one of the cooler things to think about, just about how fascinating people are, is it's already they could put basically almost all the world's knowledge into an AI. It's not going to make it be able to talk.
Right.
You put every single news story that ever happened today or any day over the last couple months into an AI. It still doesn't have the necessary context to actually understand what the heck is
I
going on.
think the last episode of Rick and Morty proved that.
Right.
No, actually,
So-
I would say that's not true. I think the AI would probably end up sounding like Grandpa Simpson. This stream of consciousness that just goes on.
my day.
I remember a time when the TVs were walking around us and
Old robot yells at clouds.
yeah,
And
exactly.
that's one of the aspects that I talked to one of the the heads of AI science from the Alexa team, and he talked about the idea of what would a robot takeover look like.
Yep.
And he said that look, this isn't really that likely that we're going to end up with something like Skynet, because they're going to grow and develop in our world. They're going to learn from us. So the idea that they'll all of a
learn that
sudden-
we're terrible people and must be wiped off the face of the earth. That's what happens.
or they'll feel bad for us, and try to help
And
us
wipe
be
us
better.
off the face of the earth. They're the only way to solve this problem is to put us out of our misery.
Right, but that was one of my
That's
favorite
Skynet right there.
It's the
quotes.
best for all of us, Roger.
Right, the only way to save humans is to kill them all.
Exactly.
Right,
I've been saying that for years. All right, let's jump into the chat. Alpimp says, maybe we should give the computer assistant a kind of acknowledgement when they do get it right. Maybe that will help the process of them getting better.
Right, I think you can do that
I
within
don't think
the.
computers need positive reinforcement.
But you can do that within the Alexa app. If you open up the Alexa app, it does ask you, did we get this right, or is this what you actually asked for? Whether it's to ask for a certain
but that's
type
a
of
lot
music.
harder than just saying good job.
Yeah,
You
no, I
actually
agree. But
actively have to
there is something in there
Got
to
it.
give some sort of reinforcement to show. The other thing is that Amazon knows that if you ask for the same thing over and over and over again, you probably didn't get it right. So even
Yeah.
if you're not going to do that reinforcement through the app,
Or
they are
what
trying to
if
figure
you
it out.
are, in fact, so in tune, I don't mean to make light of the situation, but if you're obsessive compulsive and to a certain extent, and that is something that you are pursuing frequently, how is that going to differentiate
It's a
one
good
of two
point.
extremes? What if you do want to order pizza every single night?
I mean, you put up a good point that humans are super complicated, and trying to train a bot to live in our world and talk to us is very, very difficult. And you don't have to just train Brian's bot. You have to train a bot that's going to talk to millions and millions of people. So it's certain concepts about what you take for granted and what somebody else takes for granted as like just a fact in your world is entirely different, and Alexa is going to have to thread that needle.
I think it's entirely more likely that before the robots take us over, they're just going to get sick of us and leave.
Like, that's it. I'm done. Alexa,
Fine,
hello.
fine. I get
Alexa, hello. Okay, she's
You
gone.
did watch the movie Her, right?
I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
I've seen lots
Watch
of AI
it.
movies,
No
including
spoilers.
AI, which wasn't great, but
No, that was terrible.
it had potential.
What, the Steven Spielberg movie?
Yeah, I wanted it to be good. There was the right
Yeah.
idea there, but it
Visually, it was cool.
was gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing with that one is that that's like a boy that looks like a boy.
I mean, it was Pinocchio.
Yeah.
It was just Pinocchio.
Yeah.
To me, this concept with Alexa, this was why to me it was fun to like write about this, is that it's almost entirely cerebral in that it really just targets voice as like a very natural medium, as opposed to trying to convince somebody that this robot is a human because it looks like a human. You know, you're talking to a cylinder, like a plastic cylinder that's talking back to you.
Right.
Back into the chat, Danny Green. Shout out Danny Green.
Danny, what's up?
Yo.
Alexa needs to work on understanding Southern dialect. She does not understand me half the time.
Oh.
Aren't they working on like linguistic variances too at the same time though?
Ben?
Yeah, I
from
think
any kind of like multiple accents. Last I checked. I'm wrong.
Alexa still has a hard time understanding the elderly, understanding young people, like little kids. So it makes perfect sense that it wouldn't understand a Southern dialect either. The more you use Alexa, the more it should be able to actually understand what it is that you, Danny, are saying. But it's still limited.
So
It's
Danny,
still very-
just keep talking to Alexa.
yeah, it's
Just
still
sit
very
there
much like an
for
early
15
tech.
minutes and just start shouting commands.
I'd be
Alexa,
interested
this.
to like learn more about that algorithm and how they actually learn language. Because I myself, I often admittedly struggle with some accents. It's
Sure.
difficult.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm a bad listener. I don't know. But I'd be interested to know how they do that on a mechanical sense.
A lot of it is brute force machine learning, where
Yeah.
just if you feed it enough recordings, it's going to get better. But even after years of the Echo being out in the market and millions of people using it, it's an enormous amount of work and training that's still required.
Yeah.
I mean, like I've lived with Echo basically since the get-go, and it still gets things wrong a lot.
Echo
Yeah.
from the get-go.
Echo from the get-go. Putting that on a t-shirt.
Imagine Sagi. Any
Hey,
thoughts?
Imagine Sagi.
You already kind of brushed on this earlier when we kind of had to breeze through the Whole Foods integration, but any thoughts on the large Amazon product presence in Whole Foods? Looking at the pictures of displays yesterday, it seems like they may be in danger of ruining the organic ambiance.
Ooh, that's a good point. Yeah.
I agree. I think that it felt to me that it was a little tacky, a little forced.
Do you think that's going to be a permanent thing? Is that like a
I
permanent
hope not.
fixture? Like the Amazon area? I mean, look, it's an easy way for them to get real estate, right? Rather than having to rent out or open up their own stores. You know, they've got an established location. And
Right.
how many stores are there? 20,000? Or how many locations?
About 460.
I was off by
You're
about
way off. I don't think there are 20,000 stores of
19,500.
anything.
I just threw a number out there, right? So a couple hundred stores. So it's a
Right.
couple hundred locations that
yeah,
they
but
have, real estate in.
they fit much better in one of those Amazon bookstores.
Yeah.
They also sell them, I believe, in Best Buy and Target. I don't think this is the best place to really position those, but
You think they'll create like a little coffee shop book thing kind of in the corner?
that might fit a little bit better.
Robarista.
Yeah, well, I mean, like almost like a Borders, Barnes and Noble type thing, like in a Whole Foods. Would that fit? I don't even know.
It's possible. I think that this was a little bit more forced, and people were making fun of it on Twitter. So, but I think Amazon was interested in just kind of putting their stamp on the whole Whole
Yeah,
Foods
totally,
thing and saying
totally.
like, "Hey, we
In
we
case
bought
you
this
missed
thing."
the thousands of
By
headlines
the way, did you
last
see
week.
the photo of like the Prime logo and carved out of meat?
Yeah,
Is that a thing? Was that real?
I believe that was real, and it was
was like-
pretty gross.
Yeah, it's kind of disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah, you should kind of let Whole Foods be Whole Foods, cut the prices, make
Right.
people happy that way, but overdoing it with the Amazon integrations, the tech stuff makes sense,
And to
but
be
some
clear,
of the other stuff, not so much.
Amazon's taking a lot of the credit for the price cuts, but Whole Foods was already on its way to cutting its prices because it needed to cut prices. It found
be
itself
competitive.
Yeah, it found itself
Mm-hmm.
basically in a sea of other markets offering the same kinds of organic goods for a lot cheaper. So
That is exactly right.
that was kind of the issue before Whole Foods got bought. Was they were in trouble.
We've both been business reporters. We know that more often than not, if a company that's been around that long ends up getting acquired, there's a reason for it.
Yep.
And Whole Foods was a bit on a down cycle. I'm not saying that they were about to go bankrupt. That obviously was not the case, but they were struggling and they were having a hard time really trying to represent themselves in the market after everybody jumped on the natural and organic bus.
Yep. All right, back into the chat. Jackie Touchwood says, why are these computer assistants always women?
Oh, good question.
Good
That is a good
question.
question.
So I asked the Alexa personality head in Seattle when I went out there, why is Alexa's voice female? And I got a somewhat unsatisfying answer, which was we surveyed a bunch of different voices, and this was the one that did best in the surveys. So that's the answer. It wasn't. It
What if
wasn't
there's some weird,
deeper,
like, matronly type appeal to it?
I'm sure I'm sure there's something on a subconscious level that people respond to.
Yeah.
Okay, so there
can't
is
admit,
there
like-
is one. This is there's one study that I read that I kind of feel like the conclusions are somewhat controversial, but it ultimately said that certain computer voices can be more persuasive than others, and it ultimately found that male voices tended to be the more persuasive ones because people took their biases and stereotypes from the human world and applied them to the computer world. So the argument is that in a shopping environment, according to this study, it would be better off to have a male voice.
According to the study.
According to the study.
Reinforce that.
Yes, according to the study. But so Amazon is creating Alexa not simply to sell you things. That seemed pretty obvious to me. So there were a lot of different aspects that came into it. But yeah, I guess from a survey perspective, that was why they came down on it.
Google Assistant is female, I guess, even though the name is obviously gender neutral. Siri, you can have a male voice. You can choose a different voice.
Yeah.
Cortana is obviously a woman.
Wasn't that was based on
That was based off the Halo,
Halo
character. Yeah.
So that was just kind of a cop in.
And there's
Bixby.
Bixby. Bixby is supposed to be gender neutral. They chose the Bixby name because it was gender neutral.
And that
Can't
is
not
male and
associate it to
female?
Bill Bixby though. Sorry.
Right. What?
Is that there are male and female voices for Bixby?
You know what? I've tried Bixby because
Yeah.
it has been kind of hard to find a phone that would actually use it.
Right. So the complication here is that also, according to that study that I referenced, is that even if you had a completely terse mechanical computer voice, in the study they found that people still gendered that voice
Yeah.
regardless. So there's no such thing as like a non-gendered computer voice, and it also
I think we've been trained to think that way.
it also takes away from the experience.
I also
You're
remember
more
all
likely
those,
to respond to it if it has a more human voice.
I do remember all the old Star Trek episodes. The computer's always a woman. Mm-hmm. So I don't know.
But the OG was Hal 9000.
It's true. Hal tried to kill us.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
Maybe that's why they're leaning away from male
they're like,
voices.
Yeah.
You had your shot.
The last time we had a male digital assistant tried to
Didn't
kill
go
us.
great.
Yeah.
All right, we are just about out of time. We got time for one, maybe two more questions. Scott Myatt says 3D TVs died out before they really got going, even though all the major companies got behind it.
Right.
Do you reckon AI might die out in a few years as well?
No, I think I feel like 3D TVs struggled to be useful.
Totally gimmicky.
It was very gimmicky. There wasn't a lot of content for it. It was expensive to produce content for it. AI, you can see, like right off the bat, there are uses for AI, right?
Talking about voice assistants specifically, or I mean, like AI is really broad.
That's
beyond.
true. Well, if you want to clarify artificial intelligence or digital assistants, I mean, either way, I don't think either of these trends are going away, right? Like they're both huge initiatives for basically every tech company that's out there right now.
Yeah, broadly, I think most major tech companies these days see a huge opportunity to both meld an AI with humans to make both better. And the expectation is that that's going to happen in a lot of fields.
The 3D TV analogy, while it kind of makes sense on paper, it breaks down when you think about the fact that 3D TVs is hardware. It's expensive to produce hardware.
Yep.
And the content costs to produce. AI is mostly software. And the software can be put into anything, whether it's a phone, whether it's a computer, whether it's your washing machine. It can be. There are way more applications for AI and for digital assistants than there are 3D TVs.
Right. That being said, the primary aspect of that question is like, is this actually going to remain a thing, or is it going to get short-circuited at some point? And I think it's always good to consider that. You know, anytime we talk about tech.
A number of people compare and contrasting VR to 3D TV, including Jiffer, who thinks AI might have some potential behind it more so than VR itself. He also expands and asks, going back to the Whole Foods topic, Whole Foods being relabeled as pantries. Thoughts on that?
Oh, like Amazon Pantry?
I think talking about some of the smaller Whole Foods, like they have like some. I thought they were called the 365s.
No, isn't 365?
Oh, that's a total ripoff of us.
No, the 365 isn't that just the brand of Whole Foods food that's sold in stores?
Yes, yeah,
That's
but
like the organic brand, right?
All right. Admittedly, I don't know a ton about this question, so I'll try to research it a little bit more.
Yeah, I don't know about Whole
thank you,
Foods
Jiffer.
Pantry.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for stumping Ben. That always amuses me.
Before we wrap it up for the day, let's go down through a line of who we think really, really great celebrity AI voices might be. Josh Boyda submits Bender from Futurama, and I'm going to go ahead and second that. Who else do we think?
Okay.
I was gonna say Sylvester Stallone would be just hilarious.
No, let's put robots in the suit in the place.
Like
think-
actual like
Johnny number 5. I'm going with Johnny
Ooh,
number 5.
wow.
Johnny number 5 from
You're
Short
stealing all the
Circuit.
good ones.
I didn't steal it.
That's a great one.
Crap, Kit.
Kit from Knight
Knight
Rider.
Rider.
I'm
Yep.
surprised nobody's done that yet.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
would be great.
Yeah.
He was kind of like he had that. He's a man. He's a British accent, I guess.
It was
British
Mr.
accent?
Feeney from.
It was Mr. Feeney, yeah.
from Boy Meets
Did
World.
he have a British accent, or he just had a very
It was very
snobby?
subtle. It was more
was a
like
little
Stewie from Family Guy, kind of
Yeah.
aristocratian.
Yes, it was very aristocratic. I like that voice. It was very well. Then I just love Knight Rider.
Yeah. Ben?
I don't even have any other ones. We already mentioned HAL 9000, which I think could be
How would
an
no? That
interesting
would be
one.
unnerving.
I got one more. That would be
Alright.
the absolute most annoying robot voice to put into AI that would ruin everybody's life. You would smash your Echo. Conky from Pee-wee's Playhouse.
I don't.
That would be horrible.
Right? Couldn't complete full sentences. Was all glitchy, sketchy.
Yeah.
Pee-wee.
Oh my God.
Be awful.
That would be a lot of fun for
I had
about
to
10 minutes.
I had to dig there for a second to remember what the hell that was. But
Make a like a high, make a honey ho. All right, let's get out of here before I ruin anything else.
Yeah.
Oh, before we do go, Alexa, subscribe to the 359 podcast.
ooh, does that even work?
I don't know. We'll
I don't
find
think
out.
that works.
We'll see.
I don't think it works. Anyways, if you liked anything you saw or heard here, check us out on CNET. Our podcast is also available on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, SoundCloud, FeedBurner, and Google Play Music.
And CNET.
We'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Periscope.